Alright, we're working on 12-4 surface area of rectangular prisms. And it's a very simple formula. It is on your reference sheet. But that simple formula is basically finding the area of all the different surfaces, which there are 6 surfaces: the top, bottom, the left and the right side, and then the front and the back. And that's what this formula is telling you. Well, there are, if you notice, the top and the bottom surface, both of them are congruent to each other. So there's no need to find the area of both of them. You just need to find it for one, and then that's why you multiply it by 2. So 2 times the length times the width, plus whatever 2 times the length times the height is, because the length and the height would be the right side and the left side. And then 2 times the width and the height. So the width being this, and this, and the height, that would be the back and the front surface. Okay, so that's why we multiply that by 2. And again, you're taking each one of those and adding those answers together to find the surface area. This is basically taking a three-dimensional figure, the rectangular prism, and unfolding it so that it is two-dimensional. Go ahead and hit pause and copy down this information. Alright, well, now what I want you to do is, before we even get started on this particular problem, I want you to be I want you to go around each one of these lengths, widths, and heights and label it. It makes it a whole lot easier when you go to plug it into the formula. So 8 is going to be my length. This is going 3.5 measures how tall it is, so that's going to be my height. And the width is dealing with this line, which would also be that line below it, which is the width. Okay. So now that you have them labeled, now it's just a matter of plugging it into the formula. Okay. So now we have 2 times the length, which is 8, times the width, which is 5. Okay, and then you're adding that to my length, which is an 8, and my height, which is 3.5, plus what my width is again, which is 5, times my height, which is 3.5. Now you can multiply those all together. So we get 8 times 5 is 40, times 2 more is 80. And we're going to add these all together. And then you have, whoops, and here is my fault. You got to get a 2 times in here. Again, the importance of writing down the formula, and I was short on space for this, and that's why it's important to be writing these things down. If you want to put a times in here, you can as well for the formula, because you don't want to leave that 2 out of it. If you do, you're going to be off quite a bit when you go to get the final answer. So please be very, very careful with that. And as you can see, I even made that mistake. So please be organized and write those directly below it, and we will do that on the next few problems to ensure that. So then you end up with 2 times 8, which is 16, times 3 5/10 is going to give me 56. Oops. And then we have 2 times 5, which is 10, times 3.5, which is going to give me 35. And then add those together. So 80 plus the 56 plus 35. And I get 171. And it is feet. And remember what we are finding. It is area. Therefore, it is square feet. Okay? So, again, label your length, width, and height, and then matter of just plugging it in to the formula. So let's do the next one. I'm going to let you hit pause and then go ahead and solve this. All right, so let's use our formula now. And again, it's 2 times the length times width plus 2 times the length times the height plus 2 times the height times the width. Okay, and again, please label these. This is going to be my width, this is going to be my length, and how tall it is my height. And now just plug it in. So 2 times my length, which is 15.6, times my width, which is 12.3. So there's my first one. My next one is going to be, and I'm adding it, 2 times my length, which is 15 6/10, times the height, which is 14.7, plus my 2 times the height, which is again 14 7/10, times my width, which is 12 3/10. And now we can multiply all that together. So take your calculator, 2 times 15 6/10 times 12 3/10, which is going to give me 383 76/100, plus 2 times 15 6/10 times 14 7/10, which is going to give me 458 64/100, plus 2 times 14 7/10 times 12 3/10, and I get 361 62/100. Now I'm needing to add all those together, and you will get 1,204 200ths. And I believe on your homework today it's going to tell you to round it to the nearest tenths. So it would be 1204.0, and it is square meters because of finding the area. Okay. Questions on that? Please take note of them, and we'll discuss it in class. This next problem is dealing with fractions. So go ahead and hit pause and attempt this. All right, so we have my formula again is 2 times the length times width plus 2 times the length times the height plus 2 times the height times the width. And now you're going to label all of these. My length is going to be my 10 4/5. My width is going to be the 6 3/4, and my height, with how tall it is the 2 3/5. Now you have some options. You can do one of two things. You can make these into a decimal, or you can leave them a fraction. I'm assuming most of you will want to make it into a decimal. So you can do that by taking 3 divided by 5, or most of you know at this point that it would equal 2.6. This one would equal 6.75, and this one would be 10.8. Okay, and again, that's just simply dividing 3 divided by 5, or 3 divided by 4, or 4 divided by 5 to get the decimal point itself. Okay, so now let's plug these in. So I get 2 times my length, which is 10.8, times my width, which is 6.75, plus 2 times my length, which again is 10.8, times my height, which is 2 6/10, Now my height, which is 2 times now the 2.6 times my width, which is 6.75. And it's again a matter of plugging it in your calculator. And you have 2 times 10 and 8 tenths times 6 and 75 hundredths, which is a 145 and 8 tenths, plus 2 times 10 and 8 tenths times 2 and 6 tenths, which is 56 and 16 hundredths, plus 2 times 2 and 6 tenths times 6 and 75 hundredths, which is 35.1. And now we can add those together, and you get 237 and 6 hundredths. Rounding that answer to the tenths would be 237 and 1/10. And again, it is square feet. Okay. Surface area, once again, is trying to find out how much area covers that entire surface, kind of like wrapping paper. How much wrapping paper would you need to entirely cover this surface? Obviously, wrapping paper has some extra for overlap, and but many times if you get a problem like that, it'll tell you how much overlap it needs and so forth. Those are some different types of story problems, and we'll eventually get into those. But please make certain that you are using the formula. Plug those problems in. Make sure you're bringing down that times 2. Be very, very careful with all of those. Today's assignment isn't very long. It's just got a few problems that we're going to work with on this. It should be pretty easy one for you. But again, if you do have questions, please make certain you ask. Have a great evening. We'll see you tomorrow.